Hey friends, hola, sending many greetings your way today from Young Life in Mexico. I'm Pratt Butler. What a privilege that we have to be a part of the i100 together. It's been great walking these past couple of years and excited for what the Lord's continuing to do. So our theme this year is around the functional side of the mission, and specifically I wanted to focus on our CMCs today, our stats, and everybody gets really excited when I say that. But our stats, how they can benefit us and how they're useful. You know, here in Mexico, I mean, we're sharing our stats and our numbers across our leadership teams, also with our committees, both local and international, and with other supporters, just to, celebrate what the Lord's doing and how he's been moving. It's really been miraculous movement of the Lord, but also to bring some good analysis to, we're all leaning in and getting after the mission here to get after the next kid. And as we do that, we need good thinking caps on. And so, part of that is we could get some good analysis around our CMC and our stat numbers too. I wanted to share a couple examples of how we've done that this past year in Mexico. So here in Mexico, we have maybe a frequency of looking at our stats, maybe once a month, but usually at the minimum once a quarter, and a deep dive at the end of each semester. They're helping us a lot with our strategies and helping us continue to define how we want to focus and move forward in the next season. So last year, our team in northern Mexico, we were looking through their CMCs together, celebrating so many things that the Lord has done. But one of the numbers that jumped out was they had a really strong leader to campaigner ratio, even over 1-3. And it was so strong, in fact, we began asking ourselves the question: what is going on? Like the Lord is evidently moving. But we also saw that their leadership numbers hadn't grown at the same rate as their campaigner numbers were growing. And so we started thinking about, what would be the next step for a campaigner kid who's interested in growing in their faith, they're actively developing their faith alongside their leader to become a leader themselves and get involved in reaching their friends. And so part of that analysis included, hey, what if we came up with like a pre-leader training track, a pre-leader training pipeline? And so last year, northern Mexico began introducing that pre-leader pipeline training track. They developed it, they came up with it, and they did it once a semester, usually after follow-up camp. And it was really beneficial to see how the numbers of campaigners, some of them ended up evolving into leaders in northern Mexico today. Another way that we used our stats and CMCs and analysis in central Mexico this past year was they were going after a lot kids known by name. It was a theme that was on their hearts, and they felt across the board, even in their communities and leadership, they really wanted to focus a lot on kids known by name. So they were really active in keeping up with that CMC. And as they studied it, they not only studied the number, but they were keeping track of their list of kids known by name. They were praying for it across their leadership teams and also with adults involved. And one of the neat things that came out of it was during the semester, they made a month-long campaign. And a month-long campaign where every area made a goal and for how many kids they wanted to know by name during that month. It was just a really celebratory, joyous, focus that they had. And they came out of that not only wanting to do it for a month because they reached it and surpassed their goal, but they actually ended up making a goal for this next year of kids that they wanted to know by name. And so we're celebrating how the Lord's allowed us to continue reaching kids in that way. Now in southern Mexico, another example came up. We looked at our clubs. And we thought, hey, we've got a pretty good growth rate as far as clubs. Our leaders are growing. They're strong. We've got good campaigners involved there too. But you know what? We see some opportunities to continue to grow to the next club. And so in southern Mexico, they started, we analyzed a little bit our CMCs, they said, maybe what if we diversified our types of clubs and our outreach methods? And so they started learning a bit from other parts of the world, and they've started piloting some new types of clubs, like sports clubs, They've also done a lot of different outreaches in schools and partnering with schools to be able to not only see their kids know my name number grow, but also be able to invest in their local community in a different way and increase their impact. This came out of some good analysis and also maybe a little bit of new diverse strategies. And today they have clubs piloting both in sports and in schools and our traditional neighborhood clubs as well. You know, another way that we've used it over this past year, and there's a lot of ways, and we could probably go on for a while, but another way that we use it with our camping across the board nationally. This was a national kind of analysis that we did around our CMCs this past year. And as we looked at our camping numbers, they hadn't grown at the same rate as our other numbers had grown. And while we celebrated the growth that we did see, we also ask ourselves, you know, the question, how can we be more effective in our camping and our models that we use for camping? And so we noticed that a lot of our models were pretty traditional and they required kind of a greater amount of effort from our local areas to be able to pull off, also with permissions for parents. And that had affected our numbers relative to our club numbers. And so what we did was we decided that we were going to try out some localized camping options where local areas can design their own camps right where they are. Local leaders can put them together. We've seen more adults get involved because of that, because they're very localized. And cities have begun to do traditional camps alongside adventure camping, service camping. They've done them by club. They've done them by city. And then also, obviously, regionally, we have them as well. So that was a different strategy that came up there. One thing that we've also started to measure or you know, want to measure more, is a little offline from our CMCs, is our community partner involvement. It's been a big theme for us over this past year, not just along resource development lines, although it certainly fits there, but also just around wanting to have the community as the backbone and the catalyst for how we're developing the mission in each city. And so we've also begun, you know, measuring through network events and investing in those things. And we saw we want to measure that a little bit more. And so we started doing that offline. And, you know, even some cities are considering, how do I move from 10 community partners to 20 this year? And maybe not just measuring on, you know, how much money there, you know, or resources are available through those community partners, but measuring the impact of each community partner involved and celebrating that. And we think that's going to make the tide rise in other areas as well. So that's part of our analysis. Maybe, you know, lots of different ways that the Lord is moving through the CMCs here in Mexico. Again, you know, as we use our CMCs in our one-on-ones and our team meetings, even with our adult support teams, it's just so important, I think, to celebrate that even one number is a win. And the Lord is moving right where you are. And we are really thankful here in Mexico to be a part of it and to be part of this mission the Lord has us on, and this journey and this adventure that he has us on around the world. So thanks so much for listening and praying blessings on each of you this year as you go for the gospel and go for Jesus towards the next kid. Many greetings your way today from Mexico. Adios.